Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Better Than I Found It. You're listening to Mike McGraw, Baylor men's golf coach. Today's guest is Baylor women's golfer Gurleen Kaur. Gurleen, who's a three-time All-American and who also owns several Baylor records, including lowest career scoring average, is making her way through perhaps her best season of her storied career. We talk about her journey, how she got to Waco, all she's learned in Waco, and we also talk about her most recent honor of being invited to play in the Chevron Championship at Mission Hills Country Club in Rancho Mirage, California this week. Enjoy the listen. All right, all my Better Than I Found It listeners out there, join me in welcoming Baylor women's golfer Gurleen Kaur. Gurleen, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you, Coach McGraw. I'm very excited to be here and talk to you today.
Well, this is great. I've had a lot of really great players on this podcast through the years. And I think it's great when I get an All-American on here because I have a lot of respect for somebody who's been an All-American 3 times. I have a lot of respect for somebody who's achieved what you have in the game. So it's really good to hear perspective that you have. And basically, I've been here for your whole trip or your whole journey at Baylor. So it's been fun watching. So thanks again for being here.
Thank you. Yes, I'm ready to hear it.
You know, we're both in the middle of a busy spring season. So that's another reason this is hard to find time to do something like this. But I'm glad. And there's a couple of reasons I really wanted to do it. We'll get to all of those in a minute. But so you and I'm in the middle of the spring season for the men's team. You're doing the same for the women's team. And I'm excited about what's ahead. I know you are, but let's talk, if we can, a second. And if I can just kind of give a snapshot of your career at Baylor. I don't want to embarrass you, but let's talk about your career highlights here. You've won 4 times. You have the number 1 all-time career average, scoring average at 72.51. You have the lowest single season average of 71.97 last year, and you're on pace to actually beat your own record right there. You've been a 3-time All-American. You've played in and made a cut in a U.S. Women's Open since you've been at school. You've been invited to 2. COVID got one of them, but you've been invited to 2 Augusta National Women's Amateurs. And you're ranked top 5 in Baylor all-time top 10s with 18 so far. I mean, this is an incredible record, and you're not done yet. I guess my first question is, what attracted you to Baylor in the first place? I mean, how did Coach Goebel get you to Waco, and more specifically to graduate early and get here in January of your senior year in high school?
Yeah, when I first started my recruiting process, I was really committed on wanting to leave Texas. I looked at a lot of schools in California, and I looked at, the East Coast. My main priority was still to stay in a warm climate because being from Houston, that's what I'm used to. And I wanted to be able to play year round. And a lot of schools, like my goal was to get a full ride to play in college. And a lot of schools turned me down because of the money or because they just didn't see me, fulfilling the potential that they wanted me to. And I think it was March of my junior year in high school. I was talking to my dad and I was like, I know that Baylor already has a commit, but why don't I go ahead and email them? And the first visit that I came on, I mean, it was awesome. I met Coach Jay and at the time, Coach Ryan, and being able to, come on this visit, and the Billy was at the time still being built, our facility right now. I just fell in love with it, and I actually did meet the current AD, Mac Rhodes, on the visit, and Paige, our academic advisor. And I think I really just fell in love with the aspect of being in a family here. Everyone at Baylor is so inviting, super kind, and I think it was the best decision for me because, after a tournament, I can just pop back home whenever I want to get a swing lesson, even a day, and I can see my family who I've become very close with, being in college. So I think that was just some of the things. And I took one more visit after that and then just ended up committing. So best decision I ever made.
Well, and I talked to Coach Goebel because he'd had a lot of international golfers on the team, and I was asking him about his recruiting class, and he said, "I've got this girl coming from Houston who's really, really good." And I said, "I can't wait to see it. It's great." And you've been really, really a wonderful player all the way through. But you know, um, as I said, you came in January, so that's what some people call a gray shirt because a lot of times kids come in January and don't play the spring. They just go to class, practice with the team, all of that, and get started the next fall. But you did something that's pretty rare. You came in and you were an All-American that semester. That's hard to do. Talk about that first semester because you hit the ground running and you played good from the start.
Yeah, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 months after I had committed. I was playing a lot in the summer, AJGA, and I had a really great summer that semester. Made the cut at the my first USAM, and Jay had a player transfer, and he came to me and was like, I would love for you to come in January. I think you can definitely make a difference on our team. And I mean, I didn't have many classes left to graduate in high school, anyways. I only had two, which were some like just prerequisites to graduate. And it was hard. I mean, coming early was really hard for me because I'm a senior in high school still, but I came to college in January and I see all my friends doing, stuff back in high school. And I definitely struggled in the beginning, but I think once I hit the midpoint and just realized that like I do belong here and I want to make a difference on the team and I just dedicated myself to keep practicing and keep grinding out till the end. And I would still say like that nationals of my freshman year is definitely one of my favorite tournaments still to this day because we played so well. We came back from that first day and all of us fought till the very end and we had a chance to make it in match play. But to come, I think in the beginning, I would say, I regretted coming early, but at the end of the day, I think it was a great decision for me and for our team. So, and I definitely grew as a person. I had just turned 18 when I stepped on campus the
Wow.
first time, and it was really scary, but definitely learned a lot from there. So,
I mean, when I think about this, you said you struggled that spring, but the truth is you were an All-American, so you figured it out pretty quick. Once you got your feet on the ground, you
yes.
figured something out and played great. That's great. Well, as I said earlier in your synopsis of your career thus far, the highlights, you've won 4 times in college. So I'm going to ask a question. What's your favorite win victory as an individual and your favorite team win and why?
I would say my favorite individual win would probably be my it's so confusing because of the COVID year, but I guess my senior year without COVID,
Okay.
the one that I won at UT Golf Club, and I won. So the week before we had played in Oklahoma and I had tied for the win. So it still counts, but being able to win individually, like overall without a tie, and I won by one, it was awesome. I would say that week, my game was really sharp. I mean, I played the best I had ever played before. I mean, I think I shot 71, 65, 66,
Hmm.
and just really solid on that golf course too. It just showed me that like, I came in with that tournament with no expectations, and just played the best as I could. So that one was definitely my favorite individual win. And then my favorite team win might be when we won at Trinity Forest that semester right afterwards, because that was, I think, either 4 in a row or 5 in a row for us. And we were, number one in the nation, and we were all just playing really well. I think Britta and Rosie were both top five. Um, we just had a really great time there, and I think being able to, show everyone that hey, Baylor women's golf, like we're able to be ranked number one. We belong here, and put our mark in the sand, and that would definitely be my favorite team win overall.
That's great. We've won at Trinity Forest on the men's side as well. Really, that was a big victory, and I'll never forget Ryan Greider making about an 8-foot par putt on the last hole, and we had actually, Ryan had actually, that meant a lot to him because he was from Dallas Fort Worth area. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was a good victory. So that's neat to hear those memories you have of team and individual wins. Gurleen, I'm always interested in knowing what value the college experience has for young athletes. So for you, what's been the most impactful thing you've learned at Baylor from your coaches or just the experience that's helped prepare you for the next level?
Um, first and foremost, I think school is really important to me. Getting a degree, especially when you never know what could happen, is really important. I think it's always good to have a backup plan. Golf isn't one of those sports that you could, get injured really easily, such as like football or basketball, but you never know what could happen. And I always want to have like a backup plan. And I really enjoy school. So that was really important to me. And Baylor is such a good academic school. So being able to finish and even finish in 4.5 years, is really good for me. And I would say like one of the greatest things that college golf has taught me would probably be perseverance, like being able to, even on those days that you don't want to be, practicing, you got to be out there regardless of, what circumstances you have going on outside of golf. And I would also say like, just experience. Like we play so many great golf courses and great tournaments. Like Baylor is like one of those schools that will go, to the east side, to the west side. We play on Poana, we play on Bent, we play on Bermuda. Like I have been able to experience so many different types of golf courses and grasses that, that's what you have to do on tour. Like you have to be able to go to the next week knowing that the course that you played the week before is totally different. So I would say like that was definitely one of the things that will prepare me for the next level also, being able to persevere regardless, of how I played the week before and just experience overall.
That's one of the things that has impressed me with Coach Goebel is his ability to schedule. He's had a great schedule all the years I've been at Baylor, and I know it benefits you all as student athletes to play those types of tournaments.
For sure.
That's a good answer. Okay. For the third straight year, you've been given an invitation to the Augusta National Women's Amateur. The first year COVID got it. Last year you were able to play in it, which I know was a great experience. And this is your third year you've been invited. But you've got another invitation that I want to talk about and ask you about. You've been given an invitation to play in the Chevron, which people my age will know it as the Nabisco Dinah Shore. People more recently might know it as the ANA, but it's now called the Chevron. It's a major on the LPGA Tour, so it's a big event. And you've been given an invitation to that as well. So talk to me about this decision. What have you decided to do and what played into that decision?
Yeah, so 2 days ago, I was at Ridgewood practicing, and Jane Carley called me that they got an invitation for me. Like, I think the tournament director emailed them. And the first thing I did was call my dad because, I was actually just so excited because, like, I've never received an invitation like this. And it's actually such an honor, like, for them to consider me. It's been hard. I've thought about it a lot. Like I've been going back and forth. I created a pro con list for both.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've been going back and forth, back and forth. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to go ahead and choose a Chevron Championship because I think if I had never played the Augusta National Women's Am before, I would have 100% chose that one. And if I was also not a senior about to turn professional, I would have probably chose that one. It's such a privilege to be able to play at Augusta now with this tournament. But at the end of the day, like I am turning pro. As soon as I graduate, once we're done with postseason, I should, turn pro. And being able to play in a major championship once again I just think it's an incredible opportunity. And I just think I'll learn a lot more also from, playing with the professionals. What do I need to do to put myself there maybe even next year, if I get through Q series all the way, I potentially may be in that position again next year and I hope to be so. And the Chevron is actually going to be in Houston next year. So that's my, home city and, whatever course I may be at, I will probably have played there before. So I just think, being able to build a relationship with Chevron and playing a major tournament, like it's just incredible. Like I think that I'm gonna go with that decision. But it was just hard because, I had a lot of people coming out to Augusta and, that tournament is just so well run. But at the end of the day, I did play last year and just looking forward to the future more than anything. So.
Okay, Gurleen, I think those are great reasons. Obviously, you don't have to justify it to anyone, but those are very good reasons. You've already played at Augusta National and to get to play in a major. But you did say another major, which a lot of people may not know, but you played in and made the cut in and had qualified for the U.S. Women's Open last year at Olympic in San Francisco. So, Gurleen, tell me about that experience at Olympic Club.
Yeah, I think it was really important for me, especially just as a player, because in 2020, the U.S. Women's Open was at Champions Golf Club, which is my home course, and I missed out to play that one because they had removed the qualifiers and done it based on ranking. And I was only like 20 spots out of getting from the World Amateur ranking to getting an exemption into the one at Champions Golf Club. So I think going into the qualifier last year, I was just, really, really hopeful. And to be able to qualify for it was just amazing. And then getting there, I got there and I mean, the first 2 days I was so nervous. Like I wasn't even nervous, I think, on the day that we played. I was more nervous on the practice round because like just playing the practice round with the pros, like I just remember like going to my coach and I was like, I am so nervous in a practice round. Like, why am I? And then it was so nice because all the pros that I played with were super kind. Like I played with Madeline Sagerstrom the first day and then I got the opportunity to, make the cut and I played really solid the first day especially. I made one mistake coming down the stretch, but other than that, like I played really solid. My ball striking was amazing. And I think to accredit that, like we had just come back from nationals and I was getting in my groove, playing a lot. So to make the cut was just an incredible experience. Like I had no expectations going into the event. So I started missing a lot of fairways this last 2 rounds, which put me in some trouble. But other than that, like overall, I played really solid, and it was just dream come true. And it really proved to me that like I do belong here. This is what I practice for. This is what I prepare for. Like I can do this, and just being able to play with Se-Yeon Kim the third round, who was formerly the world number one, probably still ranked top 5, and learning from her, like the experience like that, I will never be able to recreate as an amateur. So that's also one of the reasons why playing in the Chevron, I think, is a huge opportunity for me because just to recreate those moments is really important. So
Hope you remember that moment. So one day when you're this famous 20-year veteran out there, you do the same for a young college player. That'd be great.
yes.
Well, thank you for those memories from Olympic. Those are great. But right now, let's talk a little bit about the current season for you Baylor Lady Bears. You're currently ranked at number 18 in the country. Your upcoming schedule, you've got the Ping ASU Invitational, which you've chosen to play in, even though it'll be right before you go to the Chevron. Tell me about that decision that you made to play for Coach Goebel and Coach Ludwig there.
Yeah. Before I was being invited to the Chevron, like getting from Phoenix to Augusta is really kind of a headache. Like I was supposed to take a red eye that night that we finished and then play the practice round the next day. So my parents were just telling me like maybe I shouldn't play because I'll be exhausted and but I just want to play in every tournament that I can before I graduate. I'm here to enjoy it, and this is why I chose this COVID year, is because I want to be able to go and win another tournament with my team and just take in the last experience that I have this last semester. So now that going to the Chevron, I'll still, go that Monday, but just want to put our team in good position to hopefully win. So.
Well, you'll be in Phoenix, a little easier maybe to get to California from Phoenix, right?
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, from there, Your team plays in the Bruzzy Challenge up at Water Chase in Dallas. And then you play the Big 12 Championship April 22nd through the 24th. And I'm really excited about where you get to play there because you're playing Houston Oaks, north of Houston, but it's just a wonderful facility. Have you played there before?
It's actually only 20 minutes from my house, so I've
Okay.
played there plenty. Yeah.
What a golf course. We've played the Big 12 Men's Match Play Championship there 4 straight years and have signed a contract to play it at least one more year, so we'll be playing there next fall. I love the golf course. It's going to be in incredible condition and more than likely pretty good weather. And you're near home, so that should be a really like a homecoming for you.
Yep. And sadly, I don't think my family will be there to watch. My sister's going to Puerto Rico to play golf. But otherwise, yeah, we've played there plenty as a team too. We took a team trip there last year, and the golf course is awesome. It's, big greens, but Bermuda, what I'm familiar with, and I think we have a great chance this year to win. So
I would love to see you guys bring that big trophy back to the Billy. That would be fantastic. Okay, so and then obviously we have the regionals and NCAAs afterward, and those are to be announced. But tell me this, what's your best piece of advice if you were going to tell a 12 or 13-year-old girl who really, really, really wants to play college golf at the Division I level? What would your best advice be for her of things to do to get ready for that experience?
yeah, I would just say, stay committed. Like, stay committed to the process because I think when I was 13 or 14, I just remember talking to my parents and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I think just to believe in yourself and put in the time and the effort and know that it will pay off. And there are millions of schools out there, wanting players to come play college golf. Work on the things you need to work on, such as your short game, your chipping, your putting, because, any long hitter can hit the ball, but at the end of the day, you got to work on your short game. So I would say maybe work on that also. That's what makes you stand out in junior golf also. So, just to stay patient, stay committed, and it will pay off.
How important is it to be a good student? Because you are one. What would you say to them about their academics?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, because I put in a lot of effort in high school, it made my transition here to Baylor easier. I was already used to, missing classes, missing time in class because of practice or tournaments. So, prepare better for school to be hard, communicate with your professors, communicate with your teachers, and just stay on top of it. And it will make your life in college easier if you already prepared for that in high school.
I love it. It's good advice for young people. So you already kind of hinted toward this, but if I asked you what future plans were, it obviously includes professional golf. So after the NCAA championship, will you try to start playing in professional events right away?
Yeah, I did consider staying an amateur over the summer, but I think I want to just go ahead and turn professional. I've played 7 U.S. amateurs. Like, I've played the North and South every year. Like, just being able to turn professional now, I think is the right idea for me. So,
well, you have played in 7 U.S. amateurs. I think you've earned the right to turn pro at this point.
yes.
So I just want to say best of luck to you and your teammates for the rest of this season. It's really good for Baylor men's golf when the women's team does well. So I really hope you guys do well. I hope you get the result you want out of this season. But in the short term, I'm really hoping that you play really, really well in your next major championship, which is the Chevron in a week and a half. So best of luck with that. Thanks again for appearing on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.